5 gaps that needs to be filled in the journey of life. Now, as we go through life, there are gaps in the journey of our lives. And in order for us to become all that we want to be, there are 5 of those gaps that I want to deal with, just to give us some level of clarity as we journey on this session today. Gap number 1 is the gap between our desires and our wishes. The gap between our desires and our wishes. We have heard it said over and over again that if wishes were horses, beggars will ride. Now, there are words that look similar, but they are not the same. But it takes you to sit down and go into critical thinking to see that they are not the same. Wishes and desires can be said to be the same if you look at it in one dimension, but they are not really the same. And that's why I want to deal with that gap. One of the major differences between wishes and desire is the fact that you can have wishes without action. But when you have a desire and the desire is strong enough, it will move you to action. And that is why we say that pursuit is the proof of desire. When you have a strong desire and that desire is strong enough, one of the things that the desire will do is that it will keep you awake in the middle of the night. It will make you to become restless. It will make you to become desirous of seeing that desire become a reality. It will push and propel you to action. And like I've said over and over again, 1,000 good intentions are not as powerful as one action. And that is why you need to bridge that gap. Don't just be wishing, I wish, I wish, I wish. Listen, you can wish from January to December. You can wish for 10 years and nothing will happen. But when you have a strong enough desire, that desire will propel you into action. So the gap that needs to be bridged between those two things is the fact that desires propel you to action. So don't go through 2025 just wishing for a better year. You know that every year we say Happy New Year, Happy New Year. If you are 35 years, you have done 35 years. But do you have 35 Happy New Year? There is nothing new about the year. It's just a date on the calendar. So you can never have a Happy New Year if there is no Happy New You. For there to be Happy New Year, there must be Happy New You. If the same sad you, confused you, ignorant you, foolish you, cross over, you will still enter the same year the same way. When you enter 2025, did you become lighter in complexion? Did you become shorter or taller? It's the same you that entered the year. So there is nothing new about the year except you become a new person or you do new things. So that's number 1. Number 2, the gap between knowledge and action. The gap between knowledge and action. Please listen and listen well. There are many things that we know that we don't do. But you need to understand that it is not what you know. It is what you do with what you know that produces results. When you look through life, you realize that there are people that you are more knowledgeable than, but they are better off than you. Because they actually do what they know. Once they get an information, once they get an understanding, boom, they get straight to work. And that is the game changer for a lot of people. Immediately they get to know something, they begin to think on how to act upon it. But there are people that know, and they gather knowledge and know, but they don't do nothing about what they know. Many years ago, I'm a young man, and most of my friends are older than me. Most of the people around me are older than me. And but we are friends, so we meet in different circles, in different levels, from the pastoral side, from the business side. So I have this friend, probably like 15, 16 years older than me. He's in his 70s now. And this, my friend, is a pastor and also a businessman. So from the business side, myself, himself, my friend late Sonny Ojegba said, these are all old people older than me. We do conference, so we'll be meeting in conferences. So one day we're in a meeting for the late Sunday Ojegbase. I was a speaker, he was a speaker. I'd finished speaking, and I did not know that he was listening to everything I was saying. And then he came in and he sat down. I said, I didn't know you are the next speaker. That means I cannot go now. I have to listen to you. So he turned to me and said, man of God, all these things you are doing, God will bless you. That's people in Yoruba, he say, all these things you are doing is very good, but you will soon get tired. So I saw it more like, I said, are you cursing me? He said, I know what I'm saying. He said, I'm older than you. I've started this thing before you. He said, all this, the way you are passionate, you are trying to help people. He said, you will come to realize that you are more passionate about their life than they are about their own life. He said, you will suddenly realize that these people are not really as serious as you think they are. I said, but God can just say, look at you. He said, let me give you an example. He said, look through this all now. He said, if you look very well, you will realize. He told me, he said, last month. We were both speakers in a conference last month. We are here now. He said, look. So look at that. He was showing me like two people. He said he was in that meeting last month. He said, if you look into the auditorium, you will see that every time you are going somewhere to speak, there are some people that are always in every meeting. He said, and you will now ask yourself, why is their life not changing? He said, that's what I meant. But you know what? I said, no, I will never get tired. Then later, I got to the point where I didn't get tired, but I understood what he was saying. That, okay, so my own solution was that, okay, why is it not producing results? And then I came up with the understanding, which is the revelation. When people don't pay, they don't pay attention. All these free things. I'm a pastor. This is our church auditorium that we're using. We use it as an event center, so you can come and use it and rent it for events. This is our church auditorium. And I've been pastoring this church for over 29 years. We'll be celebrating 30 years later this year. I've been missing for 35 years. All of you are saying, Olumide Mane. There are people in this church that have sat under me for 27 years. They are still poor. They are here. They are still poor. Why? But there are people in this church that have sat under me and said, I want you to mentor me. I say, this one is not pastoral. You will pay. And they pay. And in 2 years, their life changed. Why? Because there are many things I say. When I'm saying it here, it's like, is it not just free? Because when something is free, it's not cheap. It's free because somebody else has paid for it. Somebody else has made the sacrifice for it. So I now decided that, okay, I will still be doing free things. Under the Olumide Mane Foundation, under the ministry, we'll be doing free things. But I'm going to create a system whereby if you really want something and you are serious about it, you will pay. And I'm standing before you under God. Over 90% of people in my network that pay for the things I give them, none of them is poor now. Not one. Not one. So I have been able to do so. I am not tired. I just changed strategy. Hello. So when I'm telling you now, you are here for free. I'm saying go and buy 50,000 book so that you can come for the next one. They will tell you another one that you pay 1,000 or 2,000. If you like, say, what are they going to say there? Shebi has already given us this one. This one is enough. No problem. It's your life. We'll be here. Hello, we'll be here. So the gap between knowledge and action. It's not just enough to know. There are people that know when they speak like this. English Mama Jaboni. When they do PowerPoints like this. When they do presentation. Wear suit and tie. Slim tie. Tight trouser. Put on perfume. Color socks. But when it's time for implementation, they're like Nigeria. Powerful budget, powerful idea, powerful policy, poor implementation. Number 3, the gap between patience and process. Process and impatience. Process and impatience. Please listen and listen well. No matter how powerful you are, the baby must go through a process to be born. You can't be pregnant and so full of faith that you say, this one, in 3 months, this baby must drop. In 5 months, I'm going to deliver twins. No. There is a gestation period for every project, a gestation period for every promise, a gestation period for every plan. So the problem is, a lot of people are not patient because they don't understand that process is part of the package. Everything must go through a process. This is not a church service, but let me help you understand this. When God created Adam and Eve, Adam fell. And one of the reasons was because he did not go through a process. The Bible says in Genesis chapter 2 verse 7 that the Lord God formed man out of the dust of the earth, breathed into man the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So from day one, Adam stood up. He was a full-grown man. Do you know what it means to go to the labor room and push out a baby? And when the baby comes, I say, mommy, good morning, ma. It's nice to finally meet you. A baby you gave birth to day one, coming out of you with full teeth, bearded gang. And the baby is shaking you, mommy, well done. You pushed well. It was easy. The road was smooth. Will you not either faint or... But that's what happened. Adam, full-grown man in one day. So when he fell, God said, we need to make adjustments. This other one that is coming, he must go through a process. So he carried himself, put it in the womb of a woman. Say, let's look for a virgin womb. Let him go through the gestation of pregnancy. Let him come out. Let him poo-poo. Let him wear diaper. Let them hit him. Let him let him roll tire. Let him go to let him suffer obedience. Let him learn obedience by the things he will suffer. Let him become a carpenter. Let Amma eat his finger. Let him go through it. So Jesus grew in wisdom, knowledge. So he went through a process. The problem with many of us is we don't go through process. We were all in this country when we were celebrating Jumoke or money bread. We all celebrated Jumoke. We all used Jumoke as a prayer point. We all used Jumoke as a motivational part of our messages. That the God of Jumoke will answer you. The God that took Jumoke from a bread seller to a global phenomenon will answer you. But where is Jumoke today? Whatever money you don't have the wisdom to make, you will never have the wisdom to manage. So you need to go through the process. But many of us, we are fighting process. And we need to bridge that gap. You don't want to learn. You don't want to submit to anybody. You don't want to go to, you are just saying, it's my time. I want to blow. I want to blow. If you blow, you scatter. Balloons blow, bombs blow. Everything that blows scatters and disintegrates. You are not supposed to blow. You are supposed to grow. So that gap needs to be bridged. If you need to stay extra 1 year under that apprenticeship, if you need to stay extra 6 months, if you need to endure extra 2 years, go through it. Because let me tell you something. If you don't learn all that you need to learn and graduate with the right knowledge, you will repeat that class. The price you refuse to pay today, you will pay it tomorrow with interest. Hello? So when you see people rebelling, I make a lot of illustration, and I say that when you are cooking, and you put on, the food is on maybe rice or beans, but I like using rice. When you are cooking rice, and the rice is yet to be ready, you'll be hearing, the cover will be shaking. Why? Because the rice is not ready yet. But listen, the very minute the rice is ready, you will just everywhere will be still. The cover will be intact. When you are rebelling against process, you are not ready. You see, when you are really ready and they say come, you will say I'm not ready. When you are really ready and they say come, you say am I able? Can I do it? That's the. But when you are thinking I can do it, may you not learn the hard way. Number 4, the gap between fact and fiction. The gap between fact and fiction. A lot of people in the world today are living under delusion of grandeur. Delusion of grandeur, grandiose delusion. And social media is not helping matter. All this social media, all this fake news, all this Photoshop, and all this AI, all this alternate reality, augmented, all these funny things that people will just believe a lie. Listen, many of the things you believe is a lie. Because somebody wrote a script and practiced it and recorded it, produced it, edited it, and pushed it out to you as a reality. And you believe the reality. Do you know how many people have left this country today that are disgraced abroad now? Hello, I did a press conference this morning. Press people asked me a question. They said, sir, this year 2025, many people are planning to relocate. What advice do you have for them? I say, go to my YouTube channel. That's my advice. Go to my YouTube channel. I did a series in 2023 before you joined the Jackpa bandwagon. Part 1 to 4. Then I did Jackpa versus Jackpada. That's part 5. Then I did Jackpa Love. That's part 6. So I said, go to my YouTube channel and watch part 1 to 6. Why? I'm not saying don't go. It's your life. Everybody will learn their lesson. Hello? You either learn by revelation or you learn by experience. It doesn't mean that because you listen to it, you will not disobey it. There are people that listen and they disobey, and they have come and say, sir, I didn't understand. I was in that service. I was there. I listened to the entire series. But I said, it's pastor. It's pastor. Say, but now I'm returning. But I can't return back to Lagos because church member cannot see me that I have returned. So I'm returning to another state. But you are my father. I have to let you know I'm returning. Do you know how many people have returned that you think they are still there? No, it's the old picture they are posting. They have returned. Hello? Last year, I know how many calls of I'm returning I got. So many of you are living a fake life. You are believing a lie. You are benchmarking yourself against something that is not real. I don't know if you saw it. A lady in the US was looking up to a major influencer and coach online. This woman will come every day, designer bag, designer this, designer that. So she kept pursuing this woman to invite her. Say one day I'll be able to invite this woman to come and speak for my people, speak in my group. She finally was able to get the woman. And guess what? When she invited the woman for that program, they now private chatted and said, I would love to be there, but the issue is that I don't know exactly where I will be during that date. So just stay in touch with me. Maybe a month to check on me, 2 weeks to check. I will now know how I'll be able to, because right now I'm homeless and I'm in between homes. He said, homeless. He said, no, you still posted this morning a designer bag that you bought. You were in a shopping mall this morning. He said, no, that's for the gram. That's for the gram. No, you don't know. Look, on Sunday, sometimes here on Sunday, when I finish church, we normally sit on this side. When I finish church, I go. By the time I'm leaving through that door to go upstairs to my office, people are by my car. Taking picture. Are they the owner of the car? God did it. God did it. What God cannot do does not exist. Small girl, big God. And we know that you are a runs girl. And sugar daddy is your God. But you say small girl, big God. So, gap number 5. The gap between local and global. The gap between local and global. Listen and listen well. The world has become a global village. But many people are still thinking the way they used to think in those days. Listen, in those days, I schooled in Ilorin. I schooled in Kwara State. A portion of my schooling. So I schooled outside. When you are in Ilorin, they call it Iluoke. You see, when you are in places like Ilorin, they will now say that, a kolowowa. That's the mindset that money is in Lagos. So you have to travel to Lagos. And many people, I have one of my mentees here who grew up in the East, and he's written a book. They've written a book on the real money of Lagos. He's written his own biography and story of how when they are in the village and the boys come for the December thing in the East, they will say, this one is from Lagos. This one from... Everybody was like, let's go to Lagos. That thinking is making a lot of people to stay in Lagos when Lagos is not for them. There are people sitting down here in Lagos. In their family tree, in their village, there is 700 acres. That is sitting down there that nobody's touching. Nobody's contending with them. But they are in Lagos, struggling in one room, looking for a miracle. There are people in Lagos that should return to their village and go and be a big fish in a small river. But they want to stay in Lagos and be a small fish in a big river. When I say local to global, the same way people think they have to come to Lagos to make it, when you can actually make it anywhere now, people think they have to travel to make it. But let me tell you something, the world has become a global village. You can sit down in Lagos and be doing business and transacting business anywhere in the world and be making your money in all currency without leaving your bedroom. Hello? So that gap needs to be bridged. When we talk about bridging the gap between the local and global, you know we live in a country where we don't have a 24-hour economy. In Nigeria, because of lack of power, lack of security, lack of infrastructure, there are many things that cannot happen. There are countries we go to that we walk around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. We don't feel anything. You can leave your house by 11 and say, okay, I'm coming. Can you try that in many places in Nigeria? No. Now, because we don't have a 24-hour economy in Nigeria, we have now come to a wrong conclusion that the world closes when you close. The world does not close when you close. The world is functioning 24 hours. So if you understand how to bridge the gap between the local and the global, even when people are closing in Nigeria, as you are closing in Nigeria by 5, you can be resuming in Australia in the morning. As you are closing in Nigeria, you can be resuming in Texas. Why? Because you understand that the world has become a global village, the internet is the village square, and wherever I am, I can be local. I can be local, but I play in the global space.